What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back to our contractually obligated dish soap viewing because he's rank 1 North America. No, but I mean, dish soap has been smurfing it up recently, as he just almost always does. This man is a god of TFT. He briefly lost rank 1. Milk got rank 1, tweeted about it, and dish soap said, "Oh, you're just gonna tweet every time I go bot 4 like 2 games in a row." And then, you can see his scores today, 4-2-1. I think he has another first that just hasn't updated on the tracker yet. And then this game, which we will see, but it was another very solid performance. I mean, what is there to say about Dish Soap? He's like the almost the perfect TFT player. He knows how to play all the lines. He plays them just very solid. He can play reroll. He can play fast 8. He can play, fast 9. He knows how to play for win streak. He knows how to play for loss streak. He just does it all. And this is what the best TFT player. I've talked about this many times before when people say, oh, I'm learning TFT. Should I like force a comp to get good at the game? And I say, yeah, like if you're below master tier, I think it's great to just like force comps to learn the game. But the pinnacle of TFT will always be a dish soap type player who's not forcing a comp. They're just playing their best possible TFT from the options that they are given. Speaking of options that were given, he's given some pretty untakeable gold augments there. Silver ticket's solid. He would have to find something that he wants to reroll in this spot to really want to take it. Um, Someone already called Zed. Kale doesn't seem very viable from this angle. There's also just not like too much to be played with these items reroll wise. I guess you could go like Akshan from this spot, but he doesn't have any Akshan. So I think Portable Forge is a pretty straight forward take. And he takes Trickster's Glass here, which is pretty cool. He knows that he's going to have the Cassiopeia too. So he decides to play Trickster's Glass Cassiopeia too, which is pretty cool. And then he makes a Guard Breaker on it, which is the only reasonable slam in this situation. And it's a pretty good one. Guardbreaker allows you to play for Yasuo Kaisa very easily and just put it on Kaisa. It also allows you to play for Azir Lux. Or we could play for some other third comp, which maybe we'll play this game. Who knows? I mean, there's probably the unit that is in this comp in the thumbnail of this video, so I don't know why I'm trying to add some some suspense to it. He's going to eventually play around Taliah this game, but we'll get to that when we get there. Oh, there's also a Riftwalker Cassidon player. Swaps into Noxus here. Noxus is amazing. Anything that oh, it's so weird. This thing that I use to watch the VODs like lags after the first minute for some reason. But usually, I don't know, for the last VOD it was fine, so I'm not gonna worry about it. The Riftwalker Cassidon player, I think is very strong. I played a Riftwalker Cassidon game yesterday, and it went okay. It could have gone better, honestly, but I think that Augment is very, very good. Oh yes, but he gets Nox in here. Nox is very, very helpful for like uh, when you have Trister's Glass, the glassed guy, the second guy, benefits from traits. So like Noxus will almost always be a strongest board because you're getting another Cassiopeia 2 with Trister's Glass. The only reason why you wouldn't play around Noxus here is if you wanted to make Econ, which I think makes a good amount of sense. You could maybe make the argument that you really want to hold this like Talia, so you just say, oh, forget, okay, I'm not gonna play around Trister's Glass. And yeah, he ends up losing the fight anyway, and now he can't make gold, which is a little bit bad. But unless he does he make gold here? I would be a bit surprised. Okay, he pre-levels. Interesting. Okay. The slightly broke pre-level, but he can always make gold next round. Pre-leveling gives him access to other potential high rolls. I forgot what item he has open here. He can go for just damage AP items. This rod looks solid. Oh, he has cloak open. It could be like tier cloak, and you could go for a Q cone. Doesn't seem bad at all. Yep, he's gonna pick that up. So yeah, I mean, a little bit spoiled, but we're gonna end up playing around Talia this game. I honestly, I don't have a window into Dish Soap's thinking. I don't know if he's already thinking in his head like, okay, I'm definitely playing around Talia this game. But if he is in that perspective, I mean, obviously Qcone is an amazing slam here. Keeps of course the Cassiopeia pair in, and now he's gonna get Shrima in so that he can make 10, and get some of these units in that he really wants to start playing, which Talia, which is gonna stay in the entire game. Me, Mr. Kian has 5 Kales, 3 Poppies, already hitting a decent bit, but looks like no Maokai's yet, which is a little bit sus, unless there was some on board, maybe. It's another Cassio here. Here's a question. You sell Swain pair here? What do you do? Do you make 20? It feels so tempting to make 20. The Swain's usually a very solid unit in this comp. I mean, judging by these buys, it looks like he's just going to make only 10, not make 20. Swain pair is really, really solid. If he wins this fight, I could see holding Swain pair here so that he can try to play for win streak next stage. Like if you lose the fight, then it's like kind of like, do I really care about making Swain 2? I'll just like lose streak. But I don't know. This also, if he plays the Talia route, which we kind of know that he is, the 3-2 spike is pretty important. Just because it's a level 6 type comp, so that's what you're going to end up playing around. So I do think it makes a lot of sense to hold on to these Swains, play for 3-2 spike, because hitting a Swain tool spike your board really really hard. But yeah, picks up some pairs here. But okay, so why is he playing Talia from this angle? That's a good question, viewer. Thank you for asking it. Well, Trister's Glass has really good synergy with Talia because when you play a Talia reroll comp, you want as many copies as Talia as possible. Lots of people will play like 2 Talia 2 stars on their board, and we'll get into it later, but there's actually a really go to. A really cool technique you can do to actually get more than 2 Talia 2 stars, even without double trouble. We will see it later, but it's actually so cool. I've seen people get to the result of this, but never actually understood how they did it. And now I get it, and I'm like, wow, that's genius. So we'll get to that when we get there. Yeah, sees the Nasus in shop, and I was thinking myself, like, at this point, is Talia probably better? Yeah, perhaps. I mean, the Nasus is actually such a high roll, honestly. Dish up very good player, but even the best players will high roll sometimes. But yeah, hitting the Nasus here is amazing. Means that he's got his 3 Shurima in. Next round he can just level for set, which is also gonna activate Juggernaut for the Nasus. That actually feels amazing here. So yeah, he's gonna hit that. Is gonna probably hold on to the Vel'Koz pair. I'm curious what his board ends up looking like, because like the Chotu right now is quite solid. All right, let's look at Augment selection here. Pandora's item, sleight of hand, medium forge. I mean, medium forge seems very reasonable. Just get more items. He rerolls it. Ooh, hits tons of stats. I mean, tons of stats makes a lot of sense. It's going to benefit this Talia. I wonder what he was going to take there. I guess transfusion if he missed. But yeah, he's just going to level here for the set. 98 HP. Um, Not really much to roll for in this spot. So talking about like 3-2 stabilization, I mean, because he hit this Nasus, I would say he's relatively stable. But yeah, I mean, like, what do you roll for in this situation, right? He has no pair. I mean, he has War Repair and Swain pair. Like, I guess you could play Swain pair over like Cho'Gath, but like, you would have to roll to find that upgrade. I think it makes a ton of sense to just not roll at all here. Play this relatively solid board, and when you have a set on your board and a Talia on your board, she can carry and do a ton of damage. I also generally like the Guard Breaker a decent bit. Talia's gonna be throwing rocks everywhere, so I think like it makes a good amount of sense. Oftentimes, Set's gonna ult front line, and then she's gonna throw rocks at front line. And when you're playing Talia, especially if you end up playing like Talia reroll, oh, he checks. Wow, that's crazy. He even checks his on item here to see if it's like rocket grab or something. I don't know. I would be shocked if you could pivot into Jinx from this spot, but I guess maybe you could. Um, but yeah, like when you're playing around Talia reroll, you don't really need mana items on her that much because your mana item is set. Um, so it's not really necessary. Like you have this guard breaker. Probably best last item here would just be a jeweled gauntlet, especially with the extra AP that you're getting from tons of stats. Skills really really well. So like probably JG would be the best option. That being said, it's not the end of the world if you end up building some kind of mana item, because every time Talia casts, she's also proccing for all the other Talias. Oh, his stream was lagging. That was the issue. Okay. We could take another Q-Cone Urgot here. We could take, I mean, there's JG gone immediately. Speaking of mana items, we could just make a blue buff if you really want to finish out our Talia items. Um, so yeah, he has the option of Q-Cone or blue buff, and now he just has blue buff as his option. So blue buff, fine enough, especially because he's on a streak. Maybe you wouldn't slam this if you're not on a streak. I do think when you're on a streak, though, it makes a lot of sense to slam. He's going to roll here. Curious if he makes Vel'Koz 2. He does make Vel'Koz 2. Interesting. Okay. And then hits Talia 2. The board should definitely be stable at this point. I mean, Vel'Koz 2 is pretty strong here. Eventually, we're probably going to get Teemo in. You get like Teemo and Swain in, and get Strategist in, and we can get like Azir in later. Slams a tier onto Set. So yeah, doesn't want to make the blue buff yet. I think it makes a good amount of sense, actually. They give me Q-Cone. Protector's Vow is amazing on Set in this comp. Just get the early cast up. And look at that. Beautiful dub here, actually. Um, that's actually really sick. But yeah, like we can't actually play the Teemo yet. I mean, I guess you could put like Teemo Swain in, but and give some extra AP to your backline. But I mean, surely it's not better than all of these units 2-starred. You'd really, really like to win this fight. But yeah, I mean, you just he is actually gonna put Teemo Swain in. It allows him to make 50 gold, guaranteed. Okay. Okay. It might be stronger, honestly, just because of the power of strategist. Bruiser doesn't really do too much for your board, and Vel'Koz is a cool unit, but he's not actually doing anything. Um, so yeah, wow, what a call here. And does he win this fight? He loses it. Well, do you guys think that was a Vel'Koz diff? I'm not actually sure. That was pretty close. But okay, he ends up taking the guaranteed money and almost wins that fight. Rolls a bit, finds Swain. So yeah, we're he's trying to like toggle his Shurima here or something. I don't know. Someone in his chat was talking about a bug. It looked like, so maybe there's some kind of bug with Shurima where the correct unit was not getting Shurima. Gets another Nasus, huge. We might actually find Nasus on on this stage. Finds Jarvan. Okay, rolls. Okay, that's a very fortunate roll. Gonna continue. I mean, at this point, you usually just roll a 40 when you break 40 because, you might as well. Gets Protector's Vow, and then he can either greed for Q-Cone or make blue buff. Yeah, making blue buff here makes a lot of sense, though. Okay, so he does end up making the blue buff, but he takes a light detour to make Protector's Vow because it's a very, very good item on set. You see, like, the set almost instacast, or maybe even does instacast with Protectors. Probably not. I don't know. We'll look at his mana bar after this, but he casts very, very quickly with Protector's Vow, which means that he's instantly going to be pulling the units, which is going to proc Taliah to throw her stone. If you guys don't know, maybe I should have made that more obvious for people who don't play around Taliah very much. Long distance pals, job well done. Social distancing is pretty untakeable. Long distance pals is fine. Um, yeah, he has the idea of, okay, maybe we'll put in a third Talia here and let's just roll down for that extra Talia. It does end up hitting it. The question is, how do you actually fit it in? And he ends up actually cutting Shurima here, which is pretty interesting. And now he's stuck between, okay, am I playing set pair here, and am I playing this Jarvan? It's kind of tough. 3 strategists, it gives another 10 AP to backline, but the extra set, when this set casts, all of the Talias are going to cast. So, he's basically getting like 3 casts, uh, and actually, like, if the set pulls 2 guys, 6 casts for all of the Talias on the back line. So it's actually a pretty difficult decision. Once you hit set 2, it's probably always set 2, and you just play the pairs. But yeah, it's actually kind of tough to figure out what you would, you know, how you would play around that there, because yeah, um I feel like it's probably the Jarvan just because Jarvan ult is so solid, but I don't know. We do have a lot of Talias. This one's getting long distance pals. Like, it's difficult. It's difficult for sure. But yeah, I mean, the long distance pals, especially with tons of stats already, especially with the Q cone, which I assume works with long distance pals, but now that I think about it, I mean, it says start of combat and Q cone start of combat. I assume it gives the Q cone 30% of it to the other Talia, but I'm not actually sure. But yeah, seems solid. We're playing into a Jinx reroll player here. That is sick. Um, yeah, they actually just sort of like delete our front line, which feels a little bad. But okay, we get a loss here. It's okay. Um, but yeah, we have 6 tallies at this point, 5 sets. We can roll for them all 3-star at the end of this stage, and you'll see what Mr. Soap does. It's actually very, very cool. He could take Jarvan pair here with Q-Cone, which looks really, really good. Outside of that, maybe a tank item, maybe like a Shroud or something. We could start itemizing the other Talia with something like a Gunblade. But yeah, I mean, Jarvan pair with Q-Cone looks really good. So let's take that, and yeah, we're in a very solid spot. I guess you could also there's nothing wrong with cutting this Swain, huh? If you for like Jarvan. Yeah, there's no reason to, like, if you hit a Jarvan 2, you could just play Jarvan 2 over the Swain, which maybe he'll end up doing that. But yeah, like I was talking about actually, he hits the set 2. What? Why did that long distance pals is so weird. Why, when he swapped the Talias, did it look like it gave long distance pals to the set? But in any case, another set 2 is very, very strong when you have all of these Talias on backline. And yeah, he's just win streak the entire game, 87 HP. I mean, the Trickster's Glass has done so much work giving me another Talia. And this is, it's not something that I immediately thought of when I saw like Trickster's Glass in the past, but I mean, it makes perfect, perfect sense with this comp. Natural's another Talia. Roll a bit, finds another set. So we are 2 off of hitting both of them. Very, very good. It's also nice, we don't have any, like, extra items on these Talias, so there's no chance of, like, accidentally popping off the wrong item. You have to be careful, when you hit Talia 3 if you have, say, like, you know, a Talia 3 or 2 Talia 2s with items, you have to make sure that you bench the one that you don't want their items. Also hilarious, when this Talia gets Zephyred, her passive still works for some reason. I mean, that's definitely a bug, but yeah, like, this person keeps Zephyring the Talia, and then she just goes up in the air and still throws out her passive, which is pretty hilarious. Obviously, you still don't want your Talia to get Zephyred. Okay, so it's 4-7. Watch what Dish Soap does here. This is really, really cool stuff. Um, does not make Talia 3 yet, okay? Waits until the round to start to make this Talia 3, sells off those Teemos, and now he makes Talia 3. But because he hasn't actually made Talia 3 yet, he can keep rolling here and find more Talias. So he keeps rolling here, finds another Talia, keeps rolling, finds one more Talia, and now he hits Talia 3 here, but he has an extra Talia 2 on bench. Isn't this so cool? He allowed himself to actually make another Talia 2 with this Talia 3 because he rolled during the minion round and found Talia 3. If you guys don't know, once you 3-star unit, you can't find any more in your shops. The game just says no more Talias in your shop. But because he rolled during minions and he hadn't actually made that Talia 3 yet, because he waited to make the Talia 3, he was allowed to roll down and find another entire Talia 2, which is so good with this long distance pals. Like the difference between having this extra Talia 2 here over here and not having it is absolutely huge in these fights. So yeah, that was really cool. So you don't even need double trouble to get like the double trouble effect where you get another Talia. Yeah, but I hadn't seen that before. It's a really cool tech. Ideally, probably we'd find another set too as well, but you can't find it all. But you can do the same thing with set, of course. You can also find set. He benched his Talia with items there, which doesn't actually like do anything. He just you need to make sure if you have two Talias with items that you combine that the one on the board has the items that you want, and then you bench the one with the items that you don't want. But it doesn't actually matter in this situation because the other Talias didn't have any items. So I think he was just very afraid of accidentally putting in the Talia with the wrong items, even though there weren't any. But yeah, makes a third Q cone here, which is amazing with the with the long distance pals and just with the fact that we're doubling up on these Talias. Like it's insane here. It usually levels up for Juggernaut here and only makes 10 gold here. It's a very anti-greed play, but it does spike the board a good bit. Juggernaut onto this set 3 feels really good. But I mean, at this point, he's coasting, right? He has two Talia 3s and a Talia 2 on his board, triple Q cone. Like his items worked out very well. This Darius board's a little bit scary. As long as Set can cast on this Darius and slow him down, we should be fine. The Set actually avoided hitting the Darius, I think, but it's just too much damage with these Talias. It's actually just way too much. They just one-shot the entire board. Like, look at this. The Talias collectively dealt over 10k damage. Actually nuts. Another Q-Cone, but it doesn't do much. I feel like this Cassante must be the take if we can, but we end up losing it. Feels a little bit bad. Um, I mean, I guess you could take another Q-Cone here. It's just, how are you going to use it? It's kind of awkward. You could put it onto the other Talia too, um, but or the other Talia 3, I mean, but there's no way to actually give it to your corner Talia, which feels kind of bad. Um, oh, this is kind of cute. Oh, that's very smart. Wow. So yeah, if you position just like this, which is a little bit awkward, you can give it to the other Talia that's being long distance pals, which will then give 30% of that Qcone value to the real Talia 3. That's very cool. Okay. I mean, in this scenario, yeah, no, I mean, this makes perfect sense, right? I was thinking maybe you would like swap the Talias, the Talia 3 and the Talia 2, but that doesn't make sense because you still want the Talia 3 to be getting the triple Q cone value. But yeah, very cool. It just makes the positioning a little bit awkward. But yeah, I mean, perhaps it's worth it. I was thinking of just putting Q cone on Talia, the Talia 3, but I mean, this is pretty smart. Looks like he's gonna sack the value. Oh, no, he's just gonna swap. Oh, okay. He swapped it, but he needed to be one more hex to the right, actually. So the last second he moved the Talia there, which means that he lost the Q-Cone value. But it's okay. At least he still got the 1/3 of triple Q-Cone value onto the other Talia. Wow, he lost this. This fight could actually be a very slight positioning diff because that was so close. Like if that Talia has a third of a Q-Cone value and that other one has the extra Q-Cone value, maybe we win that fight. But all good. Yeah, it's actually so awkward on this side. Like it feels so much better on this side. Um, yeah, like how do you even do it on this side? You have to move everyone. I mean, at the end of the day, like Talia 3 and Set 3 sharing stats is not the end of the world. But it's definitely not ideal. But yeah, I mean, his level 750 gold was allowed to win streak like basically this entire stage. Item here. I mean, other Protector's Vow to guaranteed cast seems really solid. You could even Protector's Vow just the Jarvan if you're not that worried, yeah. Because like the set's always going to cast after one auto. Protector's Vow Jarvan's just going to be more CC. Sadly, Jarvan does not count as a knockup. I've seen so many people spread that misinformation and be like, oh yeah, it works on Jarvan. It does not. It does not work on Jarvan. Jarvan is not a knock up. He is just a stun. But you know, he's still a very solid unit. He's still a strategist for the board. And you know, a lot of CC. So he's still very good. But yeah, I mean, look, this level 8 Kale board just gets absolutely racked. I mean, this is like kind of Exodia. This is one of the Exodias that exists in TFT right now. If you can hit, you know, this many Talias, it's insanely strong. He's gonna go 8 here. Start rolling. I mean, I think ideally you would find a Sante. Um, but I'm curious what else we end up fitting in here. Looks like he's thinking of just adding another Jarvan. Ooh, gets an Atrox for just a Juggernaut and, like, some extra stats onto our team once Atrox dies. I don't think that's ideal. I mean, I think best case scenario, um, I don't know, maybe Nasus Cassante is our ideal board here. Gives us Shurima, and Cassante is gonna be more knockups, and Nasus is Juggernaut. Um, that has to be, I would imagine, what he's aiming for. But yeah, I mean, look how low the rest of the lobby is. Rolls a bit here, doesn't really hit any. I mean, he hits the Azir, yeah, and so he can get Azir here in for 4 Strategist, and then just leave this random, what is this unit called? Atrox in. So I guess that's fine. Ooh, this, yeah, I think he's gonna, yeah, he's definitely swapping back because you definitely don't want to give the long distance palace value over to the Aatrox. But yeah, okay, we're gonna fight this Jinx pair. This is the player we lost to last time. We have since spiked our board a bit, but I mean, really their board's gotten a bit better as well. I don't know. This looks pretty good for us. If Talia can cast one more time, she does. Wow, that was a close one. But yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just about capping out our board as high as possible. The fight's only gonna go for a few more rounds. We are the middle of stage 6. So yeah, like maybe even 2 more rounds depending on who wins. The Cassante with a glove. I wonder if he just takes it for the Cassante. Because like that Zephyr is probably gonna get taken. The other option is like TG. Yeah, he would actually like to just take Cassante there. Um, just blue buff. What component did he have? He had bow open. A little bit rough. I mean, you can blue buff this other Talia 3, get her to cast faster. Yeah, I mean, I think rolling here makes a ton of sense. Or he could blue buff. He's gonna blue buff this one. Interesting. Instead of the other Talia 3, I mean, this one's receiving a lot more stats. I mean, not even really. Is she? I mean, she's receiving all the double trouble stats. Um, but like, I don't know. I'm curious which Talia is actually better to go I mean, he definitely thinks it's that one. He has to fight me, Mr. Ken, who hit Gwen 3, by the way. He was I think he started typing that we saw earlier that they had 7 Gwens on bench. Wow, so this game might actually be a second, because that board looks very strong, and we still cannot find an Nasus, which would spike the board so well. I don't know if it's this young player or if it's someone else, but someone, yeah, this is the person who hit Cassante too. Oh, right, they're the Bastion player with the hero augment. Okay, makes sense. He's gonna swap fully over to this corner, allows him to dodge Zephyr and dodge a lot of stuff that's kind of scary here. Like Kasante still gets an ult off, but ooh, really nice that it ults the Jarvan here because Jarvan can just jump back in. But yeah, this fight actually looks really, really tough as well. Oh, another close loss. But I mean, sure, there's no way this game's a third, right? Yeah, okay. This player dies. We just lost to their ghost and went down to 1. Oh my god. Okay. So one more fight between us and Mr. Kian. Um, we will see. We will see who can win out in the final fight. I mean, they do have a Gwen 3. Uh, I mean, this comp does have the ability to one shot, but I don't know. It's very difficult. The Gwen 3 is going to be pretty tanky. I don't know if they had like Edge of Night or something like that, but you know, if the Gwen 3 has something like Edge of Night. Okay, she doesn't actually have, she has BT. We find the Nasus finally. Skipping all the Azirs actually, because it looks like, yeah, he doesn't really care about the Azir. He really just cares about the Cassante. Gonna even put the Q cone on Cassante for faster cast, and then add Scion here over the Swain, just to have as much tankiness as possible. All right. This is board. He has Bramble Vest here, which is going to be nice versus the Gwen. We actually get Jarvan ult onto the Gwen, which feels good. Another cast, we deleted like his entire board except for the Gwen. He actually wins this. versus Gwen 3 just because of all of the CC in his board. I mean, what can you say about that game? He actually wins this game against Gwen. Like, this board beat this board, a Gwen 3 plus Kale 3. There's nothing to say. I mean, this guy's the god of TFT. Hope you guys enjoyed this VOD review. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, check out my Twitch, all my other links down below. Thank you.